think it's record. Okay, yes. So watch out. Okay, so I guess I'll just introduce myself for people that don't know me, which is maybe a lot of people. So I'm just David Hernandez. I'm a 3D animator. I've been working in animation for like 7 years now, and currently I'm working in Sony. I've worked at Sony for like the last 3 years. So yeah, I don't know. That's enough introduction, I'd say. And today I'm just going to show you how to do sort of like a rig. It's not necessarily like a full rig, but like how would I rig a character so I can animate it here in Quill? Basically, just because I don't have a big background of designing or drawing, or so basically my background is animation. So I just try to use this tool as I would use, I don't know, Maya or Blender. So okay, so let's just get started. So here's basically just the character that I just built really quickly. And what I'm going to start doing is just separate all of the pieces that I want to be able to control. So let's start with the face. So or the head. So I'm just going to select the head and then go to move selection to new layer and then name this head. Okay, and then I'm going to hide it and then select what it would be the torso part of it. So just load this, and again just move it to a different layer and then name it torso. Okay, now I'm going to do sort of the hip part of it. So, and again, we're just going to move it to a different layer, name it hips. Okay. And then I'm just going to separate both arms into one. Move selection to new layer, arms, and the legs. Later on, I'm going to divide the arms and legs into a different thing, but this is just so I can start creating my groups. So basically, the rig is going to be based on groups. So first of all, I'm going to create a group that is called all, so I can have all of the character in one group. I'm just going to put all of the layers into that group, right? And then I'm going to do another group for all of the body, basically, without the legs. So that would I'm just going to call that group like in 3D you would sometimes call it the COG. So I'm just going to name the COG, and then I'm going to do a rotation, because what I'm going to try to do is divide the rotation and the translations from the character. So you have two different controllers that you can easily control to move your character, right? So now I'm going to add all of this, both the legs, into the group. Okay, and then I'm just going to create another group, and this one I'm going to call it COG translate, and I'm going to parent that one into it. Okay, and then one important thing to remember when doing like a rig is the points of rotation. So for example here, if I rotate this, it makes no sense, right? Because you want to rotate the character from the center of mass. So I'm just going to go here and then reset point and then put it around where I want to control the character, right? So now it feels more like it makes more sense to move the character from here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do one for just the torso part of it. So again, I'm going to do another group called torso rotation, and then I'm going to put the head, the torso, the hips. This time the hips are not going to be in there because they're not going to be controlled by this group. And okay, and then I'm going to create another folder that is going to be called torso translate. Okay, and then put this one in there. And again, I'm going to just reset the pivot point and then reset the pivot point for this one too. and then position it where I want to rotate from. So now I have you know, the right position of the center point to rotate the character. So now I'm going to do the head. Again, I'm going to create another group that's going to be called head. If at any point you have any questions, just let me know. So this is going to be head rotation. And this time I'm just going to put the head in there. And I'm going to create another group that's going to be called head translation. And just add it in here. Again, I'm going to reset the pivot point here and just make sure that it's positioned where I want it to be positioned. So I don't know if people are familiar with this, but then if you click on the, I don't even know what's like the trigger, but the upper trigger, that's how you can move the pivot. Yeah, so you can just turn it on and then, yep. So, and then I'm just going to reset the pivot for this one too. Basically, the translation doesn't really matter where the pivot point is because, you know, it doesn't rotate, but then the most important thing is the rotation, so you can have a nice point of rotation. Okay, so that's it for the head. Now I'm going to do the arms. So to do the arms, I'm just going to do one arm and then just duplicate it to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to do a group under torso that's going to be called left arm rotation. Okay, and then I'm going to put the arms in there. Okay, and then I'm going to separate this into a different layer. Selection to new layer. I'm going to call this the forearm. And then right now I'm just going to do upper arm and forearm, and especially if you would have a more complicated character, then you would do the hands too. So you have a different, you know, another point of like another controller for your hands. But now since these hands are really how do you call it? They're not really yeah, it's like a low res hand, so you don't really need a controller for that. So okay, and here. Frame by frame, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, oh, I forgot to delete this one, but okay, so now I have the, I'm going to call this left upper. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear everybody. Like, I don't know. How do I? That's right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah. Yeah. And because like it also, like, since your pivot point doesn't change every time, then you don't have to start, you have to reposition your pivot point every time, so you save lots of times just doing that. So now what I'm going to do, I did the arm, right? So I have the arm here with the forearm. Right now I'm just not going to do the group for this one, just because it's a simple one again. So, but I would do the same thing if it was a more complicated character. Would just do the hierarchy that I'm been using right now. So right now I'm just going to duplicate this left arm here, and then I created a group that is just in the center, so I can just nest it in there, and then just here I can just flip it in X, and then I already have the other arm done. Okay. And I'm just going to unnest it and rename everything. And if you see, you have the other arm already rigged, and you don't have to do anything with it. You just need to rename it just for the sake of clarity when you start animating. And then what I'm going to try to do with the legs is, I don't know how many are familiar with inverse kinematics. So basically in 3D, what you do is, I'm not really technical in that sense, so I don't 100% know. Exactly, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. But and then since Quill doesn't really have a, because to achieve that in 3D you have to do a lots of constraints and things here and there to be able to achieve that. So it's not going to be a fully inverse kinematic leg, but just like a simple version of it. So what I'm going to do is just separate one leg, move it to a new layer. I'm going to name this left leg. Okay, and then hide this one. And again, but I think the whole idea started because in regular kinematics, which is just like the movement or the rotation, is like, for example, you're going up the river chain. Yes. So inverse kinematics would be like down the chain, right? So if you think about it, like for example, if I want to do the leg, I would have to start doing it. Put the pivot here and then down the line. But what I'm going to do is put it down here in the leg, in the foot actually. And let me just, again, I'm going to create a group. I'm going to call this maybe left foot IK. Okay, and then I'm going to nest this one into this, and then this one is going to be the one that it's going to be here. So you have now a pivot point down there, right? So that's going to be the one thing that is going to stay fixed into the ground. Okay, and then I'm going to okay, I'm going to separate the foot into a different layer. Move selection to a different layer, and this foot I'm going to remove it from this group. So now when I do it, you can see that the leg is sort of being planted there, and the foot is planted there, and then what is moving is the leg. Okay, and then I'm going to do another group here. I forgot to name this one. Left foot. Yeah. So yeah, because I think that's the reasoning behind the whole inverse kinematics. Like you're going the other way around instead of regular. So, okay, and then I just need to separate this one too again. And again, instead of putting the people point up there, I'm going to put it in the knee. So I'm just going to put this one upper left, upper leg rotation. And I haven't, oh yeah, okay, and then I'm just going to move it to a different layer, put it in there. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to do what I did for the arms, which is duplicate this one, create a new, create a new, oh, okay, yeah, one last thing that I forgot to do is just, before duplicating this one, then you need another group to move the whole foot, right? The whole leg, I mean. So I'm just going to create a new group. I'm just going to call it just left leg, and I'm going to put this one in there. This one, the pivot is going to be just in the so, and now this foot can go into that group, right? So now I can move the whole foot, but I can also have, you know, the rotation points. So now this left leg is what I'm going to duplicate, and then I'm going to create a new group just so I can mirror it. Flip an X. Okay, and now I have the two legs. So yeah, right. Before everything crashes. Okay. Okay, I'm going to save it as bodybuilder rig. Okay, so basically this would be your basic rig. Again, if you want something more complicated, you can do like, I don't know, the nose and the beard and the, you know, fingers. But you know, the more groups you add, you know, the more draw calls you get. So you can, you know, if you're only 15, yeah, which is not that bad. So okay, perfect. Yeah. So now what I can do is just go ahead and start animating something. I thought maybe animating like a jump, like a simple jump, could be a good way to showing how this rig would be animated, right? So what I'm going to start doing is just add first the translation of like just going up and down for the character. So I'm going to go with the COG translation. And oh, I didn't. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. Okay. Perfect. And yeah, and also I forgot to remain all of this, but just so like we can move into the animation part, I'm just going to leave it like this. But you know, just remember to, especially, you know, I don't know if you're collaborating with someone, or it's always the best practice to just rename everything so everybody knows where everything is. Okay. So I'm just going to leave it like that just for the sake of it. So okay, so I'm just going to go 6 frames in. Yes, so just remember to turn on the auto key on so it records everything you do. So I'm going to do, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 frames in, and then just go down. For some reason my head sort of rotated. I don't know why. Well, anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm just going to go down here and then go, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames. Put a key there. So I'm just storing this position of the character. So before I start doing it, is like in 3D, a lot of people do what it's called like layered animation. So in traditional animation, what you would do is just like put a pose and then do another pose and then do the breakdowns in between, right? But then since 3D, you're working with a lot of curves and controllers, and sometimes if it's a physical, at least for me, like in my experience, if it's a more physical shot where everything is going to be fast and poses are not I mean, of course they're important, but they are not the main focus of the whole thing. So the whole thing is more about like directionality and energy and movement. So that's when I would do this kind of method of animating, which is just you take each part of the character and start animating it. So let's say you start with the body, and then you start once the body it's working fine, then you go ahead and animate the torso, and then when the torso is working fine, then you go ahead and animate the head. So I don't know if people are familiar with this method of animation. That's how I've heard people calling it, or layering. Some people just call it layering, and then just because basically you just get one layer, which is one part of the character, and you animate, and then you take another part of the character and you animate that. So I don't know if it's a new concept or people were familiar with it, but anyways. Yeah, yeah. So okay, so now again, I'm going back to the animation part. I'm just animating the up and downs of the character. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he's going to where he's going to land. So I'm going to go back here and just put it up. And then I don't know if you're also familiar of how like this interpolation is, but then one is just linear, one is in and is out, and then the other one is just is in and is out, which in 3D you would call it, I think. Well, I actually don't remember, but yeah. Oh, in Maya is auto keys, right? So you click auto keys and then auto tangent. Yes, yeah. I don't know. It's really funny how like I use these tools all the time, but I never know what the name of them are. But anyways, it's all about the curves, yeah. So okay, so I'm going to do, since going up, it's more of like a ease out thing. So whoop, it's out there, and then when it's going down, it's more of an ease in. So now you have like whoop, oh. And then going down is also an easy out, is out, sorry. So now you have that, right? Whoop. And then if you just want to go back to the place where it was, you're basically just overshooting down and then going back to the place where it was, right? So now you have, oh, and this would be, I think it's out, it's good. So now you have that, right? Which feels sort of okay, just using the motion. Now I'm going to add a little bit of rotation into it. So I'm going to move into the rotation layer. So again, I'm going to go here. So when he's down, okay, I'm going to set one key here, and then when he's down, he should bend forward. So I'm just going to bend him forward. Whip. And then when he jumps back up, when he reaches the top, he's going to go fully erect again. And then he stays like up. And then when he reaches the down point, maybe he just bends a little bit to absorb the energy of the impact. And then he goes back up. So now you have, a little bit of the movement there. Okay, I'm going to move into the torso. So again, I'm going to set a key about here. So he starts bending first his torso. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time he reaches the lower point, he's bending in. I'm going to use the ease in, is out, and then when he's going up and reaches the highest point, he's going to be fully up, and then again down. It's going to bend a little bit. And then just so we can offset a little bit, he's going to finish the whole movement after the body stops moving, right? So just this one. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's actually like, yeah, this is so this whole method of layering with your rig would be just to get the, I would call it my blocking, right? So I'm just getting the basic motion of the whole thing, right? So where it's going, how fast it's going. So basically you're just trying to get timing and spacing in there. And then after you're happy with the whole animation, how it looks, or like you're sort of happy of how it sort of looks, then you bake it down and then you start actually doing all of the what I would call polishing, right? So you're just tracking some of the arcs and then delaying some of the stuff and then adding stretch and squash just after the whole motion is done. Yep. Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. And because in Maya, I don't know, people that have worked with Maya, you have loads of curves, right? So it's easy to retime stuff, especially like the one of the biggest problems with this method, right, is it's really difficult to retime stuff, because now if I want to, for example, let's say I want him to be holding that pose longer, right? Now I have to go into every single layer to move the um, the keyframes that I added in, and that takes a really long time, right? So it's better, if you want to make a really, really big change on your animation, maybe just hold it off, like put it on the back of your mind, keep animating, and then just once you bake it out, you can start retiming and remodeling your poses, etc. Yeah. So I don't know, how much do I have left? Okay, perfect. So now I did the torso. So now the torso started moving first, and then the whole body goes down, and then I think here torso should go up faster. Yeah. So now he's starting to the move with the torso, and then the whole thing is moving up. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it's getting there, right? And then okay. For example, one if you bend over, this is of course it's all things that you get once you're animating body mechanics for a long time, right? So one of the things, if you're bending over, you should usually push your hips backwards. So so this, even if this pose feels a little bit how do you go, imbalance, you want the character to feel the most balanced ever, right? Because uh, you just don't want the character to fall down, to the front. So what I'm going to do is just here in the COG translation, I'm going to create a new layer. So this is why I would call it layering too, because you're just adding more information on top of the information that you already have. So here I'm just going to call it COG offset, let's say. This is also because since the timing of how he's going up, how he's going down is is a different timing that I want for him to go back. That's why I'm adding another layer too. I think if you are a 3D animator, you can think about it like I'm adding an extra curve to the whole thing, right? So here what I'm going to do is, let's say he's starting to go back, so I'm going to put a keyframe here. When he's all the way to the ground, use another keyframe, and you just push him backwards. I forgot to move the pivot, but like since it's translation, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think if you move it, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so and it's going to be more of like any scene is out. So now he's going down back, and then when he's going up, he's coming back into the same place. And now you have a little bit of that. I'm really not happy with, he should stay down a little bit longer, so, but I'm just going to do that after I break everything down. So, okay, that feels good. I'm going to move into the head. So I'm going to go to the head, where is it? Head translation, head rotation. Okay, and so when he starts moving, of course the head, seems really connected to the torso. So what I want to do is give it a little bit of offset. Sorry. So here I'm going to turn it up. Maybe easing this out. Maybe this one. Okay. And then by the time he's reached the lower point, he's, the head is rotating down. Okay, probably this one. Okay, and then when he reaches up, the head starts, overshooting a little bit. Overshooting a little bit. I'm gonna do this one, and then when he goes down, there's a little bit of again an offset on the head. Doing this one, and then it goes back up. This one probably. Okay. So okay. Again, it's not perfect, but you can see the head having a little bit of a... Sorry? Yeah, I'm just estimating at the right now. I really don't have a good pointer of how to do that. It's how you're feeling it usually. But another important thing that can help you get better results with this is if you shoot a reference, then of course you already know where the head is turning back up, where the head is turning back down, where so if you follow a video reference, you can get like a really what I call like a really realistic sort of motion, because you're basically your video reference already has timing and spacing and posing in there, so basically just copying it, getting it from there, and then after that you can start actually animating. Like for me, all of this process is just laying the foundation of what my animation is going to look like. So after yeah exactly. For example, I think maybe the head here can take a little bit longer to get there. So now it's a little bit mechanic, but it works sort of fine. Maybe if I do this. Oh yeah. Okay. And then let's do the arms. Whoops, I keep on hitting my microphone. I'll do the left arm right now. So, okay. Yeah, I'm just mixing it up really. Again, maybe I think if you have a background of 2D animation, then you have I think maybe have a better sense of like, oh, this feels like 2s, this feels like 4s, this feels like 8s, because in the beginning, or that's how people would feel how they know the timing of stuff, right? But then 3D animation, I think, at least how my experience been, or how I actually learned, I just you just put keys. It's more discovering stuff, I'd say. So that's why maybe sometimes it takes longer to get the grasp of 3D animation, where like 2D is, I think it's more structured, right? Where you're just like, oh, this is 2, this is 4, this is a breakdown, this is a key. And I'm pretty sure like a lot of 3D animators know all this stuff and work like this, but I'm more of a messy person, so I just like woo, whatever feels okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So um, I'm just trying to finish the arms off. The arms here are going to fall about there, maybe. Um, More like this. Maybe they are overshooting a little bit. And then going down. Yeah. Well, I guess yeah, it's a mixture of it. Like I think I describe it as blocking more because of I'm just laying the ground of like my workflow, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. I do have to. Sorry, I cut you off, but like I'm just going to say like I do think that the two ways of animating are completely different in the sense like right now I'm going to get more of like it seems really organized, really once you break it down it starts to get really mechanical. So you get more energy if you're doing painting layers and doing breakdowns and the way. Yep. Yeah. 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 Yes, but I'm just trying to think, because of course all of the methods had their pros and cons, right? So this one has loads of cons in the sense, like if you I have to retime stuff, it's just a nightmare. You cannot do it. Like it's just well, you can do it, but it takes so much time. Instead of like if you have just like single layers, you can just delete one layer, or like I mean delete one frame or add another frame, and then you just get a hole there, right? So yeah. So whatever you always have to think about like what you are animating, right? Also, if it's an acting shot, maybe because in acting shots you retime more times than not, right? So if I was doing an acting shot, maybe I this wouldn't be the best approach unless it was like a really short, you know, 3 seconds or 2 seconds shot. Yeah. exactly. Perfect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. So okay, okay. So I'm just going to try to. Well, I'll leave it like this. Like the arm, I was just going to try to do something. Well, I'm just going to add another layer, like yeah, because right now it's just happening in one axis. This is another thing that you do in 3D animation. Like for motion to feel more organic, you always try to do it in different axes. For example, right now the arm is just going back and forth, which feels really mechanic. So I'm just going to add a little bit of um, rotation this way. Maybe a little more. And then put it back down. And then it goes back down. Okay. It doesn't look great. I'm just going to delete it. Oh, okay. Forget it. I'm just going to not do this. Yeah, I did it earlier, but I think I'm panicking on the time because I really want to show you how to do the legs, right? So let's say your arm is already good, right? So I'm just going to do what I did first. Right now, since the both hands are going to be doing sort of the same thing, I'm just going to delete all of this part of it and do what I did earlier, which is just flip it. I'm creating the mirror thing. I'm duplicating this, adding this in here, and then just flipping the next. So now you have both arms, right? Oh yes. Okay. So okay, now I'm going to do again since both legs are going to be doing basically the same thing. I'm just going to do the animation in one leg and then just copy and paste it into the other side. So here what I'm going to do is find this one, the IK. Okay. And let's say when he's going, okay, he starts moving here, so I need a keyframe there, and then I need a keyframe in the upper leg, and then when he reaches down, I need a key for both of the layers too. So okay, so here what I want to do is start with this one, and then just sorry, it goes forward, and then the other one goes backward. Sorry. Okay. I think I never. I know I did. Oh yeah, just my pivot is not in the right place, right? It should be underneath. Okay, so here I need another keyframe and then just bend it back down. And then probably just do this one and do that one. So now it sort of matches. Maybe use this one instead. No, it's too slow. Maybe this one. Oh yeah, okay, so that feels better, right? Whoop. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Where's the other leg? This one's the other leg. So now you can see that it just feels that it's there and it's absorbing the motion of the body going down. Okay, and then so basically this is how you use like an IK leg, right? Like the foot is planted and I'm just animating like in reverse, right? So in Maya that's what the computer would actually do, but since we don't have any of the tools in Maya, we're doing. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then from, but again, since it's inverse kinematics, you're doing from the bottom up instead of from because if you would do it the other way around, right, it would be a mess to match the leg, I mean the foot on the ground. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. And then here I just oh, where's this? Sorry, the leg. So here's going to go up, and then since you have a group on top of the whole thing, that's the translation group. So just you're going to match the keys. So here's here, it's up there, right? It's probably this one. Probably not. Okay, sort of. Maybe this one is more. Okay. It's not working this time. Well, if not, you can just yeah, you can just move the keys and then start to match it really like yeah, yeah. Which is what I sort of did like in the first three frames since it was not matching, and I just match it myself. I don't know. I do have to say like I'm a really sort of lazy animator, so whatever I can get the computer to do for me, I always do like computer do it for me, and then yep, exactly. Something is going to be is out. Okay. I think we are going to be fine because it's almost done. Okay, so now you see if you can see it's sort of matching already. Whoop. I mean, you would have. I just need to do the sort of like the absorption of the energy on the lower part. Yeah, right. Okay. Where is this? Okay, so I'm just going to absorb it again. Here. So okay, maybe more. Going. So it's not it's not perfect, but sort of does what we want. Yeah. And again, I'm just going to do the whole thing where I just um, into the center. Yeah, exactly. And, basically it. And you can, oh yes. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. So basically, right now, what you just do is basically, okay, the clip ends here. You go to sequence. You go to loop, and you just break it down. So now I think it feels good. Now, for example, choppy, like yeah. So and then for example, now I can start. Let's say for example, this motion is really fast for me, right? So I want to hold this pose for like 2 frames. I'm just going to add 2 frames there, and then it's already feeling a little bit more that he's conserving the energy, and then just he release it. If I want more, yeah, and then I'm just going to give it a little bit more of hang time there. So now it feels, maybe it's a little too much, but this is just like experimenting with your, yeah. And then of course, like let's say you want him to compress more when he's down. Now you can just go ahead and go grab your grab tool, and then just compress it, right? Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just going to compress a little bit more. Sometimes I like, yeah, right. I like just reducing the strength so it's a little bit more precise. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, and then I don't know if you've seen the whole Transylvania. I think it was the second one, but the third one they already had it too. Where there's tools where you basically just modeling on top of your animation. So if you don't haven't seen it, so that's basically more complicated way of doing the grab tool. yeah, 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 right. Well, I would say the animators. I actually say the animators. yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I actually work on the Hotel Transylvania 3, and then I think you animate 30% of the time, and then 70% of the time is you're just sculpting whatever Gendy is asking you to do. So, yeah. And well, that's basically it. Another trick that you can do. Sorry. Oh yeah. So let's do that. Okay, this one is too much. There. Uh, where's my grab tool here? Oh, I don't know why it's not working. Oh yeah. I think it was just I was trying to do it in a layer that wasn't okay. So yeah, and then another thing that you can do with you already have your rig. So let's say for example your hands seem really symmetrical. So you just go ahead and grab your all of the keys on one arm, and then just you can turn this off and then just move it a little bit. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So now you have a little bit of offset, and now it doesn't feel as robotic as before, right? And so basically, like, the sky is the limit, really. Like, you can, for example, let's say again, and then doing, yeah. So yeah, yeah. Or frame, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't show that much because it's in one spot. For example, let's say we want this up to feel more powerful. I'm just going to delete this frame. Whoop, this frame. And now it just feels more, whoop. It feels more forceful to go up. Exactly, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then, okay, I don't know. Let's say we want him to uh, do a twirl, right? So I'm just going to create another group here, and then just, let's see. I'm back to the rig, yes. So I'm just going to add that key there, and then when he stops, he's just turning. And then when he goes down, he's turning around, right? So yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah. So yeah. To do that, right? Or like, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you have a lot of control, just, and then that's how I really like layering animation, right? You're basically just creating building blocks, right? So you have a thing, and then on top of that you add another thing, and then on top of that you another thing, and then yeah. Yeah, so just duplicate it, and yeah. Woo. And oh yeah, and the duplicate thing, yeah. uh, oh, oh yeah, yeah, the first one, and they redo, yeah, that's true. And then okay, let's see. Whoop. Woo. All right. Yeah, and then just turn them around. Yeah. Woo! That worked. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the recording now.